Welcome to another edition of Mailbag. Remember, these are questions and comments that you guys leave on the channel that I think are worthy of further exploration. And again, like I've done with many of the other mailbags recently, I'm recording a block header for the multiple items that are going to appear in this particular mailbag session. But before we get going, we must observe normal parish notices. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not hit the subscribe icon? If you want to be notified when videos like this, the rant, or specifically about pieces of equipment hit the channel, you need to click the bell icon as well. If you like the contents of the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the video, it really helps the channel. And if you feel so inclined, put comments down below. I read the lot. I have to release them from the quarantine area on the channel. And also sometimes I make videos about your comments and suggestions. So that's just the way it is. And finally, down here somewhere is the TMTG community address. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, which I feel is really a bargain, you can support the work the channel does in producing videos about equipment that musicians use. But now, back to this video. Now, while you have been seeing these mailbag items come through one or two at a time over a successive number of releases, I have sat down and recorded this evening 27 different responses. So it has been a bit of a mammoth session, and I will be recording tomorrow a further 12. This gives you some idea of the volume of questions and comments that you guys leave on the channel. It also doesn't account for the number of items that were wiped out by YouTube in their purge in January, which I was really annoyed about because I had stuff where I was sort of lining up videos and lining up comments, etc. And YouTube just, well, got rid of them for want of a good better word. Anyway, this is the last one. This is number 27 from Sean Curran, again through the Patreon system. And Sean writes, hey John, have you used a Yamaha FC5 pedal? It ranks amongst one of my favourite foot pedals, so much so that I was going to open up and see about switching polarity for my N-Sonic keyboard. And yes, Sean, I do actually have an FC5. It is in storage, and I would describe an FC5 as a stomp pedal. And what I'm going to do is just temporarily stop the video. Okay, the reason why I temporarily just stop the video is because I wanted to go and grab this. This is what is it? It's the, what's the H in it for the, because it doesn't have it written on, the SH1 for the Korg. And you really need this pedal if you've got an Oasis. Probably someone will shout at me, but I found that a lot of the other pedals don't really like the Korg. This is the one the Korg likes, but that is the SH1. And the reason why I describe the FC5 as a stomp pedal is because what the FC5 is effectively a very thin pedal, probably what, I don't know, 1.5 centimeters, 2 centimeters high. It's not particularly high. It sits on the ground. It's got a good rubber footing on it, and you know it kind of allows you to kind of stomp on it, because it's literally an on-off switch. It doesn't have a damping function to it. And I've got two of them actually. Both are in storage. Both I use with Yamaha keyboards. One, I believe, is in the same bag as my DSR 2000, which is a keyboard that I've talked about a few times. That was my first ever keyboard. But my DSR still exists. It's in storage. It's in a bag. But there is a FC5 pedal in that bag, I know, and there's another one in a crate somewhere, but I don't know quite where. Anyway, it is a very simple pedal. It's an on-off action, dump, 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 right? These pedals are not stomp pedals because they expect you to vary the press. So you can go bang like that if you wanted to, but they're designed for you to actually vary the the pressure. And as such, if you notice, if you look at this end, it probably doesn't show up very well on camera because I'm a bit far away. But there's actually the tip, the sleeve, the tip, the ring, and the sleeve. Okay, 3 pieces to the actual connector, which is what all that's about. So, but the FC5, I think if you open up the FC5, what you would find is a very simple polarity, a very simple switch. Now, the question is, does the N-Sonic need a permanently open circuit to which when you press it you close it, or does it need a permanently closed circuit that when you press it it opens? Now if it's the latter, then I don't think you'll be able to modify the FC5 to do that. Your better bet would probably be to go for a Roland DP6 or a DP5, whichever way round it is, I can't remember. And then if you buy the wrong one, then change the soldering inside that, because that allows you to have a permanently open and go to a closed, or have a permanently closed and go to an open. Hope that helps. The next one comes from Sean Curran in response to the Behringer What's Next in 2021 video I did in January 2021. He writes, last year I was completely down for both a Linn DMX and CR78 drum machine. However, my position hasn't changed. Few musicians back then used stock sounds in those drum machines. It was very common practice to burn custom samples into an EEPROM, a memory chip essentially, turning these machines into very early samplers. Once sampling was available to the masses, the EEPROMs were sampled and most musicians didn't look back. Very true. I've said before, I feel that the samplers killed the drum machine. So why own a TR8, an RD8, an RD9? Great question. The older TR808 and TR909 used analog, 909 using sampled symbols, circuits to make the sound. Sure, you could sample it, but you couldn't tweak it. The sound you were looking for couldn't be changed. It was static. There is a viable market for Behringer, Roland and Roland to fill. That being said, maybe Behringer would be willing to produce a Simmons SDS module. And I've said it in that piece there, and I'll say it again. I think, you know, the samplers, or the way the samplers came in, kind of killed the drum machine, or what the manufacturers wanted to do with the drum machine. And all of a sudden you ended up with a very dry period where there was very little innovation in the whole drum machine market. But, hi Sean, you hit the nail on the head is how I started the response to this. Between samplers and generation. With a generated sound, you can change the way the sound is shaped. And that's kind of the key to this. Through the generation process. That's why people loved analog synths with knobs and buttons and faders for everything. The samples are post-generation. So you set your sound up and you sample it. And that's pretty much what you sample is what you get. You can't go back and manipulate the way the oscillator generates the sound. What you have is what you've got. You can add filters and stuff onto the post-production side of the sample, but you can't actually change the generation. If you want to change the sample, you have to go back through the sampling process, back to the sample source and resample it. I would love to see these old machines with a simple way to load custom sound sets that doesn't involve getting the EEPROM burner out, which is kind of what we've got now with a lot of the new machines that are coming out. The firmware can be updated. You can load sound parameters into the way the machine works to generate a different sound without getting the EEPROM burner out. because believe me, that's a pain. Most people will say, well, burning EEPROMs is easy. Yeah, burning EEPROMs is easy. Getting the right code to burn EEPROMs, that's a pain. Opening the machine up to swap the EEPROMs in and out, not damaging the chips, that's a pain. Anyway, in terms of Behringer developing the Simmons kit, thou can but only ask on social media, because Behringer are always looking for ideas about what is the next thing they're going to do. Like it or love it, Behringer seem to be producing machines that people are asking for.